All right. Before we experience this pain together, I don't even. I had to sit here for a little bit and gather myself a little bit. We're gonna crack open a little IPA from Night Shift Brewing. I used to live right around the corner from these guys. Cheers, everybody. All right. Helps the pain go down a little bit better. Watch this. Craft weapon, scepter. Turn it up a little bit. What do you think looks cooler? Opal scepter or a void scepter? We'll go with void. And everyone wanted opal. It's better. You guys want opal? We'll give you opal. At least. We're doing it. 500 fire, 16,000 gem, 1,500 fizz. Oh god, just 2,700 cold, 1,500 lightning, 200 life, 750 mana, 2,400 attack. I went really hard in the attack. I went really hard in a lot of these.
Yeah, I did.
Attribute, speed,
I did, didn't
critical, 424 mod tier. Don't even get me nervous. Don't even get it. Kit.
May the love of Rislatha free you of your anguish and aid
No.
this soldier.
I can't look.
Become a weapon
Oh,
to
I can't
crush
look.
the unjust.
I can't look. Oh, I can't look.
Don't look.
It's the onslaught ram.
Don't look.
No! No! You're kidding me! I am not, in fact, kidding me. That was my big craft for the day. That was the whole idea. If you saw the last video, at the end of it, I talked about how I was going to do a big scepter craft, and that was the plan. And that is what we ended up with right there, the onslaught ram. For reference, this craft took at least 4 hours to get going, and I think it was probably longer than that. At least 4 hours, maybe 5+ to fully configure. It used all 88 corpses. You're kidding me! No, I am kidding. It used all 88 corpses, and it was roughly, I didn't count exactly, but roughly 12 divines invested. So 12 divines plus 4 to 5 hours of trading and trading. I thought that this was how I was going to open the video, was going to be this. So a lot of planning and all that, but I probably don't have to click very far to just like half the clicks that I go through. Oh, this is why I went to go get some money first because I got sick of the trading. The vast majority of what I was doing here was just buying every single one of these corpses. I had to buy 88 different corpses. Luckily, chat was very helpful. Probably about half of those I got through chat. I paid everybody the fair price, but you know, it was so painful. So painful to go to the trade website. I had so many different tabs open, buying all these different corpses. There's no bulk buying or anything. You have to do it one by one. And yeah, so yeah, the idea, what I did, I'll give you guys the steps right now, is you can go to Craft of Exile. You can click on the modifiers that you want to get. So you just go, hey, I want T1 fire, +1 fire gems, +1 spell. And I really only cared about the prefixes. That was the most important part. I was okay with worst case, prefixes can't be changed, scour, multi-mod, finish that off that way. So then what you can do is in your crafting method, right? Normally you can click on, hey, show me the best thing for fossils, show me the best thing for essences, whatever. There's this new graveyard icon here. So you can click on graveyard, and with the options that you want to see, let me close this right here. With the options that you want to set, you know, what do you want the individual mod groups? So, you know, if I say 1 out of any of these, obviously something like that. Most important thing for me is any of getting these two. My craft, for reference, was a 50% chance. I had a 50-50 of hitting +1 fire and +1 spell. That was the most important thing. And I just loaded it up a little bit to get some increased fire. So obviously the odds of getting the increased fire with that are less, but the actual modifiers that we ended up using were very, very similar. So this didn't really hurt my odds of hitting the double +1. What you can do is you pick those modifiers that you want to get, then you click compute best selection like this, and it will tell you the recommended modifiers. Yeah, today, all I just want to show you guys is what I crafted, how I did it. I crafted 2 items today, actually. The craft, you know, my steps that I went through it and my lessons learned. And what my plan over the next week, I want to really go hard in this crafting, learn as much as I can about it, and then present to you guys kind of like a final digest of everything that I learned. But I want to make daily videos as well and bring you guys along for the journey. You can see kind of like piece by piece what I've learned. So what we did today is we did 2 crafts in 2 different ways. This was the big one. What it does is when you click compute, it will generate based on 88 of the full corpses. It'll use up all the corpses. You can see right where, let's see, the number will change. Yeah, right here. You see the number of graves used. That was actually 86. So it went to 86. It'll bring it really close to 88 every single time. It'll tell you the percent of modifiers that you want. And so you'll see it tells you by 17 attack modifiers, by 17 attack scarcer, by 2 attribute scarcer, 1 caster scarcer, etc. It says get all of these as well as all of these. So this is a total of 86 different corpses, 86 different individual trades. A couple of people I was able to buy 2, maybe 3 off of, but I did close to 80 trades today just to buy these corpses. And then you have like this percent chance. I have a 1 out of 505 to hit T1 fire, but if I brought that down to at least like T3 fire, let's see. If I go to T3 fire right here, you can see it's 1 out of 70. If I go down to T4 fire, 1 out of 45, it gets much, much better. It's actually even better if I say, hey, T4 fire and or, what is it? Where's flat fire to spells? Let's put that in there. Let's do T3 flat fire to spells. We can get a 1 out of 2 with this. If I say, hey, give me one of these 2 and these 2 like this. What these different individual groups are, this says give me guaranteed 1 modifier from each of these columns. And I'm saying I'm okay with either fire damage or fire damage to spells, but guaranteed I want at least these 2. So that's what it's saying right there. Now, talking with other people, we're just going to try to keep this a little short and sweet. Talking to other people, particularly in SSF that are doing their own crafts, the recommendation and the number one thing that I want you to take away from this video is this is the wrong way to do things. The way that the graveyard is intended, as far as we can tell thus far, none of this is final, no final results here, but the intention is set up a bunch of 20-ish corpse crafts. So you should have like a 20 corpse craft here, one here, one here, like 4 different crafts going at once. Maybe you have one bigger 30 corpse craft going, and you can get decent odds there, especially if you're willing to settle for T2 modifiers, maybe some T3 modifiers. You can kind of iteratively work on different crafts. Unfortunately, the interface of going to the Necropolis here and setting up every single graveyard and all this and managing, it's not that bad, but it's a little messy. The way that you can do it is the craft will just be the connected corpses. So by default, it'll just use the ones that are touching right here. So I can set up this section, and then if I leave this area unconnected, I can put corpses down here, and it's kind of setting up a different craft. So I can have a spreadsheet, basically. I can have a list here of the ones that I'm going for, and I can say, hey, up here, this is going to be my ring craft, right? This is my ring. Down here will be my belt, and then down here will be my weapon. And you can have a list of the crafts you want to pre-plan. So I think the idea is you want to go to Craft of Exile, kind of pre-plan this a little bit, and you can tone this down. This is going to min-max it for 80 corpses at once, but you can really tone back a lot of this, and you'll get very, very similar odds. And this is what I got from talking to the people in SSF. So you can click on the little X here and bring this down. So you can see it says 1 out of 6 right here. I can click this down quite a few. Bring all these down just a little bit. Bring this down 1, 1, 1, 1. We're down to 78. The gem one, right? This has 20 gems. We can bring this down to 15, and we're still at 1 out of 9. And we just brought it down by over 10% fewer corpses. Really, the idea here is I think you want to bring this down a lot and use way, way fewer corpses. Let's do that. Give me a second. Let me bring this down to reasonable numbers. Unfortunately, this craft kind of sucks. Also, this is not a craft that I recommend doing. I just don't think this is the right way to craft this. For reference, what this item is, I'm trying to go for a double +1 scepter, +1 all, +1 fire, and then ideally other fire damage over time modifiers. And this craft, particularly going for the +1 all, this is a very, very hard modifier to hit. And this was the main problem. Even with the modifiers that we have set, this is still only a 3% chance to hit. Better if we recompute a perfect thing, but this is my setup kind of toning it way back. This would have been less painful. Going for a 1 out of 16 on 44, that's still, those odds are so bad that you shouldn't do that. The real thing that you should do is let me generate a slightly different item that will have better odds. This is just something, unfortunately, the gem modifiers are so hard to hit, particularly this one that has no other tags. This only has a gem tag. This just really, really sucks. I guess it does have a caster tag. So gem and caster, it's like, okay, but too many caster modifiers. So let me make another item real quick here for you. What I did here is I went to a Vol Regalia, an intelligence body armor, and I selected tier 2 of all of the increased energy shield as well as intelligence. This would be a very, very good item, particularly in League Start. And usually this would require you to use a lot of faceted and defense fossils as well as attribute fossils in addition. That would be a big item to hit. If we hit all tier 2 modifiers, that'd be really, really good. We ideally have a 1 in 2 chance right here to hit all of those modifiers. And it's not that hard to hit. Now, this is with 88 corpses. Let's tone it way, way down. All right, so I just brought that 80-something corpses down to 34. I pretty much just removed all of the like big stacking of scarcer and went to something very reasonable. Just going down to 34 corpses. This is not that hard to trade for. Just the difference between 34 and 88 is gigantic. Guess how the odds changed? Not at all. It still has a confidence level of 75% to give you in a 1 in 2 try for just 34 corpses instead of going for 88. And I might be able to remove a couple more, but you know, I just wanted to remove like the bare minimum here that I could figure out and still have really, really good odds. So this would be my one ask for Craft of Exile. This calculator is incredible. I definitely can't believe that this was done just like basically over the weekend. But my big ask here would be find the fewest corpses that I can get away with while you still have high confidence of hitting in a reasonable number of tries. The fossil calculator already does that, but right now you have to do a lot of tweaking to really figure out the fewest number of corpses that you need. The other thing that this doesn't currently do, and I don't know if it should or can really do it easily, is take into account the increased effect. So if you don't know, and I'll link it to you guys below. Let me grab this real quick. There was a Reddit post earlier today, and I don't think this is perfect. People in my chat were already min-maxing this. There are corpses, like the one that I just showed, that will boost the power of the corpses within a row or a column. So the rows right here, you see this is a row of 8. If you put a single row booster right here, the other 7 now will get 25% increased. It's now 7 times 1.25 instead of 8, which is 8.75. So you get more value by boosting one of the, one of the chunkier rows. And you can see this by where it recommends putting it. And if you put a row and a column right here, the pluses will actually get the double effect. They'll actually get 50% increased. There's 2 columns that you can min-max, and then there's a bunch of rows that you can min-max. Like I said, I don't think this is 100% perfect. People in my chat have been trying to tweak this and see if they can find something better. I recognize this is 100% just Harvest flashbacks. If you played Harvest League, very, very similar idea. Min-maxing your layout. The difference is it's like doing your harvest crafting, like resetting your harvest setup every single time you want to do a craft. Now, like I just said, I don't think this is the right way to craft. There might be some crafts that you really want to min-max like this, but really the intention, I believe, like I said earlier, is to do a few different crafts at a time, 20, 30 corpses at the very most, and just have more goes at it. Here's my list of corpses. I have my couple different plots that I have going, and I'm just going to do my maps, particularly for an SSF. Going to do my maps, going to grab all the corpses that I can, and then as I'm checking them off, I can place them in the graveyard, kind of build it up, and then when it's done, I can do the craft. So that's what I've learned so far. I just want to show you guys also really quick the other thing that I crafted. So I made this ring. 2 big things I learned here. There's very important things. First off, if you're going for a unique type, so now when we craft, like you saw earlier when I crafted the scepter, you can choose the base type. But if you have a unique base type, which is like an opal ring, a steel ring, anything like that, let me find, I did have a steel ring one. This creates a steel ring, requires at least 1 other corpse of the same monster name. So what that means is you have to find another corpse that has the name Noble Dead. And it can't be another steel ring craft or anything else that says Noble Dead. So I tried this initially as I bought another opal ring. I had one opal ring one that was also a Bloodstained Vanguard. That's what I had. I had a Bloodstained Vanguard in there. I tried to craft it. I was like, oh, you need 2 of them. And so I bought another opal ring Bloodstained Vanguard, but they conflicted because you can't have 2 opal rings. It has to be 1 opal ring. So you have to find another one, another random thing that's like, increased effect or fire modifiers that is also named Bloodstained Vanguard. And that, oh man, I was just face palm slapping myself in the face there. It is very, very fiddly. Just so you know what you're getting into. I think there's still, the patch is not perfect, despite what I might have been feeling last night. What it's doing is it's exposing the inherent flaws in doing this crafting. Particularly, the trading is very painful. There's no bulk trading. I don't think you can search by monster name yet. I couldn't find that. Maybe you can. Correct me. Let me know in the comments below if you can search by monster name. I was not able to find that. So I had to just search for a full page. I just scrolled down, and then I typed Control F and I just typed in Bloodstained Vanguard just to try to find it. I actually think eventually I got really lucky and someone in chat had one and I bought it off someone in my chat. That's the first thing that I learned. Then the second thing, what you're going to be looking for is items that have a lot of high percentage modifiers that you just want to push the tier up. Something like a body armor that just has defense and res, anything like that. Something that just has a lot of life. Something very high chance modifiers. And then you just want to push the tier up. Think of it like ROG crafting kind of, where you look for a base that might have low tiers but the right mods, and you want to push those tiers up. And you can do that with the increased effect of tier modifiers. Do I have any? Yeah, a bunch of these. So this is going to be your core craft. It's going to be like lowering the eye level, but it's the opposite. So instead of lowering the eye level and cutting out the top crafts, it's raising the floor for the modifier tier rating and cutting out the bottom crafts. This is just your core craft corpse that you're going to use. So yeah, that's what I learned today. It was a very painful lesson. Again, it took at least 4 to 5 hours to collect those corpses. It cost me about 12 divines to do the craft, and I ended up with something that was absolute trash. Yeah, just be prepared. Until people find 100% deterministic crafts that break the game, which I'm sure people are working on, like perfect fizzbows and stuff like that. Until that gets figured out, my recommendation is just go for these lower grave crafts. Just try to keep it at 20 to 30, have a couple cooking at a time. Don't stress it. Don't push it out. I did have a lot of fun today mapping. I think the mapping with the all flames was dramatically improved. I had a lot of fun popping these all flames on my atlas. And I actually made an atlas like this. If you want to look, this is my atlas that I ran today. It had all the Necropolis modifiers, and then I ran it with Eldritch Gaze. Then I ran it with Nico, of course, and a little bit of Expedition and the Blue Altars, and it was really, really good. It was tons of fun. Wasn't super profitable, but it was a ton of fun, and I really liked it. Hats off on that. I think the in-mapping experience is really solid now, but the crafting is still fiddly. I hope they're looking at ways to alleviate that pain. It's not that bad, but like I said, keep the crafts a little bit lower. Try to keep it like 20 to 30 until you find something insane. All right, just want to hit you guys with the lessons learned today before you guys make any mistakes like I did, because it felt really, really bad. We're going to go right back at it tomorrow. We're going to try to craft some other items. I think I'm going to try to make a shield. Should be a lot easier than the scepter today, and I can't wait to see what we end up with. All right, thanks. See you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.